Welcome, everyone, to Love, Sex, and Leadership. I have another exciting guest today, a dear friend who I've known for many years now, Layla El Khadri, who's a amazing divine embodiment coach, helping men and women across this planet get deeply into their body, into the essence of their being, and really learn how to lead from their soul. She's a wild, intense, amazing, spontaneous Spanish woman with a electrifying heart and a lot that comes through her. And it's been a joy to have her as a friend in my life for many years. So welcome to the show. Nice to have you here.
Thank you so much, Aaron. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So there's lots happening on this planet right now. There's a lot of changes, a lot of shifts, a lot of places of people waking up. And yeah, just to start with people that don't know you, what's your part in all of that? What is the driving force of the why that makes you get out of the bed in the morning and say, I'm ready to not only help myself, but to help others along the way. I'd love to feel some of that inspiration if it's alive inside of you.
Mm, yeah, I think it's the possibility, the awareness that there is this field of possibility of what we can create when we are fully connected to our power,
Hmm.
our creative power, our um, community power, our wealth power, our health power, like within the human self, there is so much more possible than what we've been told and what
Mhm.
we are actually doing. And so my work has been devoted for the last decade to work with those who have remembered that they are powerful and want to do something about it and want to
Mm,
build something and want to share their gifts and want to actively co-create a better reality for all of us. And it started in the beginning with going within the self and finding the power within and finding our voice and finding our confidence and regulating our nervous system and all the things that relate to the self. Um, and in the last 7 years, I integrated also together with that how we step in the world, because I realized that there's only so far that we can go with the self, and then at some point once the self, let's just use the expression, wakes up, immediately remembers that it's part of the collective, and so it
mm,
wants to create for the collective. And so I transitioned into leadership and business, to help those who want to build in the world, who want to have impact in the world, to do it in a way that is in alignment with their highest timeline, their highest potential, their highest creativity, their highest possibility.
mm,
So when I wake up in the morning, what gets me going is right now an amazing group of inspiring clients that are across many different fields, really doing epic work to build a better reality for all of us.
mm, mm. Yeah, beautiful. And in that journey of waking up, of leading, of transforming not only your life but the lives around you. What were maybe one or two of some of the breakdown to breakthrough moments, the moments where you're like, you're on the ground in a fetal position and you feel like life is absolutely against me, and then something changes, something shifts, or you're like, wait, no, I can choose a different reality here, I can make something different. And for you, of course, like all of us, I've had a lot of those moments, but I'd love to hear maybe a moment or two from you, or when that breakdown led to the breakthrough, and where that inspired the active leadership into life.
I love that you say one or two. I have one or two a month these days. I, for anyone hearing it, and also for anyone who sees the polished outside version,
Hmm.
uh, can I can we curse in this podcast? Is this
Of
allowed?
course, of
This
course.
is a fucking journey. Like, let me tell you, the higher you go, the deeper you have to go. The more you shine, the more you have to look face to face with your demons. I woke up this morning and I sent a voice message to a girlfriend and I said, oh, here we are again. The depression wave is coming. This morning, it is 2:48 p.m. And I knew I was going to see you by 2:48 p.m. And I was also very willing to show up in whatever phase of that I was going to find myself. So I can share a moment or two that are maybe a bit more grandiose for the entertainment purposes, but I just want to say that this is, at least in my experience and those I work close with, it is part of the everyday life more and more. It's like the cycle. It used to be every few years, no, and then and it just feels like it's the more we come in contact with our power, the more it is, or at least the more I become aware that it is really a breath in, breath out kind of experience. So yeah, if anybody else listening to this is like, why am I going up and down all the time? Well,
So take us to that moment, because this to me is the juicy bits of life. It's like, we're all going through challenges and hardships, and it's not always buttercups and fluffy white pancakes on a Sunday afternoon. Like when you're in that moment and you feel that depression coming in, you feel that the challenge is arising, where and how do you navigate through that? Because this to me is really the juicy bits that help people who are going through that right now, or probably listening to this in their car, they're at home, something's happening in their lives, and they're like, well, I don't know if I can make it through these moments. I can know if this is almost too much. And unfortunately, a lot of people choose, the addictions. They choose to take their lives. They choose to, be abusive. They choose a lot of different things other than actually, choosing a pathway of love and transformation. So where is it for you when this comes in? How do you move through that? What happens for you?
Formula, it is not a simple answer. It's really a path of mastery. It's really a path of understanding the human experience and its complexity, and being able to have presence at all the levels of the being. So it impacts in the emotional. It tends to impact in the emotional, hand in hand with the mental. Right? You feel something, and then this dialogue kicks in that sounds different for each one of us, but it actually sounds very similar for all of us. And so for me, becoming aware, becoming present with what's going on, becoming present. Okay, there is the emotional wave right now, and it looks this way, and this is the narrative that comes with these emotions. And then the body is going to, for me, it goes through tiredness and lethargy and low stamina, and this feeling like something is wrong. Nothing is wrong with my body. Like, the first thing I'll say is, if there is a key here, is do not take a step back. Do not identify with the transitory state, not with the thought, not with the emotion, not with the apparent symptom. Very often we grab that and now, let me go get all of these tests to see if I have hormonal disbalance, or if I have, or let me identify myself as neurodivergent or ADD or bipolar, or just the ego goes like, grabs that thing and makes it about it. And then it will be so, we are organic beings. And just like if you sing to the plants, they grow faster. Well, the same, we reflect our mental and emotional states. So for me, the first thing, and that's why I send a voice message, I have a very good friend that we really help each other. It's like, oh, hello, I am in this wave now. Just that already makes like the separation. Today I'm going to wear this costume. Doesn't mean I am this costume. And then it's really to my business clients, I always tell them, I feel like the key to success in business is to respect your client, your audience, so deeply that you really get to learn who they are, what they need, and how you can serve them. When you really respect the people that you serve, and you really go to the extra mile to get to know them, then you know how to talk to them, then you know how to give them sell them what they want, but give them what they need, and all of this, ways to deliver results. I'll say do the same with yourself. You are your biggest enterprise. You're your biggest service. Respect yourself so deeply that you get to know who you are, not who you want to be, not who you think you should be, not who will be amazing that you were, but who you actually are. Just piggybacking on your sweet introduction, I am this passionate, shiny Spanish woman that's I can lead up a room, getting into the room, and it will be very easy for me to only cater to that, and get very frustrated when the other part of me that's just as real comes in. I am also a very deep being that feels very deeply and can get really melancholic, and so many years I didn't fully respect myself because I only wanted to tend to the shiny part. Every time the other part will come in, will suppress it, will numb it, will wrong it. It will just wrong it. There's something wrong with you. We need to figure it out why this is not being like that right now. And I wasn't honoring myself in the fact that, as beautiful and shiny as I can be really deep and really dark. And that's actually what makes me so powerful, that I can go with my clients and my friends and my family to the depths of the human experience, and I don't get scared, shy away. I'm the girlfriend that you can call when you're about to commit suicide, and I'm gonna be there with you all the way through. So respect yourself enough to pause, watch your state, and understand it before we rush into this should look in a different way, this should be a different way.
Yeah, so I'm hearing in that a lot of deep inner attunement to appreciating reality as it is, not the way that sometimes our beautiful mind or thought or ideal scene wants it to be, but actually the reality of what's being presented by life each and every day.
Own it. Own it all. A big part of this feminist women empowerment bullshit wave that has gone so out of control is like, own your light, own your power, own your feminine blah blah. And it's like, who is telling us also to own our darkness? Own your darkness, own your broken little girl, not to make a character out of it and to identify with it, but to actually really, really, really own it, really fully understand where is it coming from and what is the wisdom that it brings. It was 2 days ago, I don't remember now, 2 or 3 days ago, was Nyepi here in Bali. And the night before Nyepi, the Balinese bring out to the streets the ogos, right, which are these like big paper mache monsters. And I've been here for 10 years. I was not feeling like going out in the parade, which gets loud and messy. And I sit down at home and I was just like, okay, I'm going to do my own inner ogo parade. Just put my demons there. I actually took this things I bought in Egypt. There are like carvings. I put them in front of me like I was a little girl playing Lego. And I just put all the demons there. I just sat with them, had a really deep conversation with my addiction, with my judgment, with my stupidly sharp judgment of the world, of men, of everything. I was like, just had a 45-minute conversation with my inner judgments and with my procrastination and with my ambition. My God, I have a huge ambition demon inside of me that wants it all, wants more all the time. It was so empowering. It was so inspiring. It was so healing. And like, I felt like there were pieces of rapture inside of my soul that just like clicked into harmony, So own your full spectrum self.
I love that. I was here in up in Munduk, and I actually got into the parade. I was carrying around one of the ojo with all the locals. It was super fun though. It was quite intense, the amount of carrying I did throughout the parade. By the end of it, I was like ready to watch it burn. It was funny actually to see, because I had never been there for the burning of them. And they just threw them in the fire, and then they went away. I was like, the only ones that were watching the ojos burn were all the bules that were there. But how
powerful of a metaphor that but then the process is complete and we have this clinging thing to it that we just like are so identify with them. We kind
I
of
want to watch it burn. Yeah, it really was. It was like, okay, we did our thing. We shook it around. We let the demons express, and now we're gonna watch it burn and walk away. And I felt myself like clinging on. I'm like, I want to see it go all the way down. I'm like, I watched so many things burn. I want to see it. And then eventually I was like, actually, I don't necessarily need to do that. And there was a deep, like, almost letting go and appreciating of the darkness. Because my own pattern sometimes is like, oh, we're going dark, we're going in. I'm ready to go in. I want to be there, and finding the healthy balance, even though things are quite, in a great space. When like the permission for the dark goes in, I'm just fully immersing. And and I guess the kind of inquiry or the question to that is, like, for people who might be afraid of the dark, it's something that certainly from our childhood and the things like when demons start coming up in conversation, and there's darkness around, there's a lot of people like, I want to go to the light. So many spiritual traditions are just about going to the light, and trying to ascend the human experience rather than descend. So how other than getting wild and kali and crazy, like, how do we support people to get deeper into the dark and actually have a profound appreciation for the dark as well?
Oh gosh, I'm gonna piss some people off for sure.
Yes.
I'm gonna piss some people off. I just think that the spiritual how do you call this, repackaging of the spiritual traditions that has been happening in quote unquote the spiritual community or new age, you call it whatever you want, is living outside. It's like reproducing the same pattern of avoidance of the complexity of the human experience that the patriarchal westernized capitalist system has done. It's like we are just like doing a bit more polished version of the same, missing the point. And I also have profound respect and gratitude that there is a bigger and bigger wave of, let's just call it, awakening, even if it's got commercialized and it's got, there's some cultural appropriation happening and I'm not one of those attacking it, because it's still better that than than some of the out of control consumerist tendencies. But and if someone really wants to, I'm resisting using calling wake up, but let's just call him wake up. Someone really wants to go to the depth of the self. You cannot avoid the darkness. It's just not. It's just like it's once again denying the feminine. It's the same thing that that the patriarchal system. I don't even know if the word is patriarchal anymore, but let's just call it that way. It's this like belief that the capitalist system has imprinted in us that the constant growth is possible. They're just growing more and more, like like next year bigger than the next year bigger. I'm like, no, just look around in nature. Everything has a cycle. And so we really have to come face to face with how much we have allowed this denial of the darkness to castrate our own power. So, I mean, I am a bit radical. If you ask me, I will just say sit in the darkness, like whether it's literally switch off the lights in your room and sit there and watch your fear come up, if like it's literal fear of darkness, or if it's allow yourself to sit in your depression, to really sit in your depression. And I am a person that has sat in her depression, arguably we could say too long, but like the reality of sitting in it, it's not when you are numbing it. It's not when you are enacting it, when we are in the writing of the emotion. is when we are actually allowing ourselves to sit and witness it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And here's where I see incredible results in the people I work with, because we just right now we're transitioning a pretty intense time, until mid-April. There's been a bunch of planets in retrograde, but well, the framework I've used the most is the Inanna's descent. So it's this Venus retrograde 40 something days. And
Mm-hmm.
I work with women in positions of power and leadership and women who are building businesses. And so we started the year like, okay, everybody has their KPIs and their figures they want to hit and their projects. And like, we had this motto of the beginning of the year, which is a little bit against nature because nothing really begins the 1st of January. Quite the opposite, is the middle of winter for most people. But, because it's a collective beginning, we harness that energy.
Yeah.
But when this retrograde time came, I make a pause and I say, all right, who is ready to go to the 6 figures? All the hands go up. All right. So all of these hands that are going up, we dive in for the next 40 days. We
Mm-hmm.
really are going to go down. We're going to allow ourselves to explore what's underneath. Because like any house, if you're building a house, you need to build the how do you call them? The cimientos,
Foundation.
the foundation first. And the foundation goes from the surface down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing because I have to hold them down there, because you go 1 inch into your darkness, 1 inch into your fears, 1 inch into your demons, and 3 inches grow up without even realizing. And then you think like, oh yeah, we're going up. No. We're still going down. Hold them a little, 1 more week. Oh my God, but my sales are going up again. No, yes, but we're still going down and going down. And the part that surface, wherever. Now I'm talking in terms of business because I work with business, but it can be in terms of relationship, or it can be, that is the result, that is the aftermath of how deep the root is going.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And very often we really don't have much reference of going down there. It's all like the upper part of the tree where we're tending to.
Yeah, so by diving into the darkness, by restructuring the foundation, there's actually a capacity for the light of our branches, for the expansion of the tree to be that much more flourishing. And just like you're saying with these women, there's a resistance. Oh, I've gone in now. I'm ready to expand. And it's like, no, let's keep going. Let's keep going. And yeah, I think there's a human nature part that almost is pleasure seeking and pain avoiding, and often the darkness or the descent. I think for a lot of people it can be the association to the pains and the karmas and the dharmas and the things that haven't necessarily been dealt with. And I'd love, I guess, to because you mentioned the darkness as associated to the feminine, and these two polarities inside of all beings, but how you reference the darkness as associated to you could say the masculine, and as it's associated to the feminine, and where some distinctions are. I mean, I'm often working with men and I'm helping them embody more of their like healthy dark masculine, and that strong penetrative power and that capacity to annihilate what's not love. But I'm curious from your side as a woman, I definitely can relate to has a strong healthy dark feminine that is able to express herself and be connected to emotions. But where do you feel like is the distinguishing place that people can not only have a concept into, but can actually embody?
Do we have 2 more hours?
We have all the time. We have an abundance of time, darling, an abundance of time.
Anybody listening to us right now, fasten your seatbelts. This is one of my favorite things. And there's 2, I want to talk about 2 frameworks. But before that, I just want to do something brave. I want to put a call out into the cosmos through the waves of this podcast for men with healthy, dark masculine to come forth, at least in my reality, because I miss you. I miss you. It's crazy what we have done to the dark side of life. We have annihilate it and deny it, both in the masculine and in the feminine. And it's so not sexy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's so not sexy. So
Well,
calling
just for that part, I have a retreat I lead a couple times a year that women are often waiting for the roster from, that we dive deeper into the dark masculine and the initiation journey. So there's men doing the work. I'll tell you that much.
great. You can definitely let my WhatsApp number fall
fall into the threads. This beautiful
exactly.
Spanish woman might appreciate a healthy dark masculine. Accidentally. Oh, sorry, guys. If you want to reach out to her, I'm sure she'll be appreciative.
Well, you see here, we'll go into answering your question, but just like a quick detour. When a woman is in connection and has integrated her inner dark, both feminine and masculine, but let's just talk about polarity right now, her inner dark feminine. There's no way a relationship is going to last if the man has not integrated his own dark masculine. It would be very difficult. It will be a matter of willpower to respect him. It will not come naturally. It will have to be a mental choice. Because only when a human is in contact with his darkness is a human truly safe. This is so important. I'm so tired of hearing people promise that you're coming into a safe container. This is a safe space. This is a safe. Nothing is safe if you are not in contact with your darkness. Nothing. Doesn't matter how much cushing and how much fluffiness we put around it. We're seeing this in many organizations. I don't want to say names, but you know what I'm talking about. There are targets that, it's not safe, it's not safe. No, people is not safe because they haven't gone down to their own cellar, their own underworld. So underneath the houses of people, there's a bunch of demons waiting to come out. That's what makes people unsafe.
I'm
safety.
Right there with you, and I couldn't agree more. When someone knows, I just want to reiterate that, just when someone knows the depth of their darkness, then they actually know the depth of their light, and inside of that they know the depth of their whole being, and they're actually able to not look for safety because they know safety. And this is the analogy I speak to with men all the time, especially men that want to get in touch with their dark masculine. I said the first thing they have to do is to meet their tender young little girl, their very tender feminine that's in their body, that they've been putting around a force field that have been unable to meet their vulnerability. When that strong penetrative sword inside of a man can be there, then she inside the man's body actually can feel safe, and then he's not looking for mommy. He's not looking for safety, which is usually happening inside relationship after the honeymoon period ends. He actually knows himself as whole and inner union and complete, because he has the capacity to annihilate in front of him anything that's not love at a given time. And that's what creates safety for both himself as well as the women around him and the beings around him. And that's, powerful as a father, as everything else. So yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm preaching with you, darling.
And for us women to keep our bodies safe in sexuality, for you to not be entered without permission, to not be abused ever, you need your dark feminine ready to say no at any fucking point, because she has the no inside. Not because I am outsourcing that safety to the man who can just be misreading. Like we putting you guys in such a in Spanish we say jaque mate, like in such a tough position when we are not able to keep ourselves safe, and we're outsourcing that. And that is your, like, if you want to play with a powerful image, imagine a big fat Black Panther that lives inside of you, that you don't need to be calling out when it's not time. She doesn't need to be scratching no man. She's just chilling there pairing. But when you need her, she's lethal. And you need to be able to come in contact with her so that you don't need to outsource that. And then to get into all of these victimized experiences that are just heartbreaking for me. So how do we make this happen? I have two two softwares that you can activate within yourself. One is the basic polarity. And I think it's much more easy for the Western mind if we take feminine and masculine outside, so we don't get all mixed with gender, and we just talk about yin and yang. Yin being the feminine darkness, yang being the masculine light. Easy peasy. Get the gender, get the genitals out of the question. It's just a matter of understanding energetics. So just do your research. Have a nice conversation with ChatGPT about the essence of yin and yang. It's not science. I mean, it's the science of the universe, but it's not rocket science, is what I wanted to say. The yin is everything that is in the mystery, that is hidden, that is in the underworld, that has the potential in itself. And the yang is everything that is expressed, that is outward, that is moving forward in the world. So everything that we're putting in the shadow, that we're not wanting to look into, that is poignant, pregnant with potential, is what I am saying we have been robbed of. And an invitation to look there. And before you said something interesting, you said that we have a tendency to want pleasure. But I will argue that the shadow can be really pleasurable when we really allow ourselves to explore it. It can be really like there's a lot of pleasure, there's a lot of comfort to find in the dark. Even in the dark of your own demons, there is a lot of comfort to find there when you turn around and truly understand them. There's a lot of, it can really feel like being in the womb of a mother if you are traversing it with integrity. And here's where, for those who are beginning the journey, good facilitation, grounded, mature facilitation, people that, like, please don't go to people that just did a teacher training last summer and are calling themselves coaches. Please, like, find the Aaron Kleinermans, like, go to people that at least have been taking through this work, that has, like, lost his mind and found it again. If the facilitator didn't lose his mind and found it again, I wouldn't trust it. So this is the yin and yang. This is the framework I'm using when I say the feminine. Now, there's a really, really powerful and slightly more complex framework that I got through Bruce Lyon. But I know it did not come from him. He is translating it to the Western mind from ancient scriptures, from the Taoist tradition, if I'm not wrong, which takes the dark and the light sides, as I just described them, the yin and the yang, and then applies them to the masculine and the feminine. And here it's much more, there is masculine and feminine within all of us, but it's much more gender oriented in a sense that, yes, we will understand the masculine, light masculine and light feminine, dark masculine and dark feminine within each one of us. But the qualities and roles that we associate to these quadrants, you can understand them much more in a man-woman manner. And it gets a little sticky with all of this, like, gender reorganization that is happening, very especially in the Western world, politicizing the whole thing. But if we let go of all of that mindfuck, which is just a way to keep the mind entertained, and we really look deeper into these four quadrants, what we see is that the light masculine and the light feminine are the expression of polarity from the heart up. So everything connected with the heart, with the mind, with being a visionary, with connected to the spirit world, with downloading ideas, with like nurturing your community, anything that has to do from the heart up. And the dark feminine and the dark masculine is everything that has to do with the roots, with sexuality, with the earth, with the medicine of the biological world, with being born and dying, with decaying and blossoming. So that yin and yang now becomes much more of a geometrical orientation in space. It's like the world of spirit and the world of matter,
Mm-hmm.
the world of the heart and the world of sexuality, the world of God and the world of Mother Nature.
Mm.
Orienting ourselves as individuals in that environment then allows us also to orient ourselves collectively and in relationship. I can tell when a man approached me, is he approaching me from here up? And there's no balls. And no balls, I say this with all respect, and there's no desire to emasculate this man. It's just you haven't gone into your own darkness. You haven't gone into your own capacity to penetrate life. And so the moment my own darkness comes into place, the moment I go crazy, which I will because I'm a woman and it will happen, is to also own the hormonal reality of the feminine. The moment my emotions get out of control and I, as a woman that's safe in herself, allow myself to get out of control because I know I can come back home like this, you're going to run in the opposite direction. This is going to be like, this bitch lost her marbles and I am unsafe in the room. So I won't be able to have as much fun, as much pleasure, and as much range of being as I know I can have, because I know I can bring myself here in a breath. That's the reason why I can burn so bright. But if he hasn't go there, like, he won't be able to, and vice versa. I'm now a woman talking about men, but this happens both sides. So
For sure.
Back to the beginning of the conversation, respect yourself enough to get yourself fully and get to know yourself fully in the 4 areas of your delicious complexity.
Yeah, I love that. Love it. As you share, I feel like often society, especially for male bodies and, growing up in a male body, there's often a lot of pushing down of that strong penetrative energy. So, the thing I see a lot of men come to me with is there's this place where they kind of feel like they're walking on eggshells. There's some part of society that's saying, we want to feel you in your balls more and go grab the world and go penetrate. And another side's like, you're too much and watch out for your cock. And, you've been abusive and, all the things you could say around like the Me Too movement, which of course has a validity to it because there has been a lot of abuse. And I noticed that men, because of that, they feel like they get caught in between 2 worlds and they don't actually it's not that they don't know, because I think a part of them knows how to drop down into their base, but there's almost a fear inside that they're going to be too much. I mean, so often when I'm working with clients, I'm just helping them to own the power of both their cock, their emotions, and the magnitude of them. And by doing that, it actually creates more safety. But society is just saying, nope, you're doing this and you have a cock, therefore you're bad. And it's so much of the programming that gets pushed in. So a man who actually is able to know the potency of his power, to know the potency of his delivery, of how he can meet the world, is, the longing that so many female bodies are having for that man. But also the frustration that happens inside. It's like they're wanting that man to be the dark masculine penetrative force, at the same time wanting to have him hold the tender gentle places. And both can happen absolutely when a man is integrated. But I feel like a lot of men get lost in this place in between.
I will not want to be a man in today's world. I have so much respect and compassion for male bodies, because yes, patriarchy raped female bodies, but it really raped male souls in a way that's heartbreaking. And I see it in the I was going to say the dating scene, but I'll say the attempting to date scene, because I don't get to the date. I don't get to the date because I can feel the fear. And I know it will just not be what I'm wanting. I can feel that fear. I can feel that energetical chopped balls that you guys have suffered. That's also, by the way, behind why men are running all their penetrative power into business
Mhm.
out of
Mhm.
control, out of
Mhm.
control and sustainably out of control for their bodies, but also a man with a huge penetrative power that cannot physically penetrate and has to express it through business will run his company to destroy the earth. It would just
Mhm.
keep fracking and like just because it's not fulfilled in its entirety. So it's only expressing up here through the mind, through the mind, through the mind, through more, rah, 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 eating the world. It's not
Mhm.
going down in the body. It's
Mm.
I mean, we could talk about, so like, as a somatic therapist, you can see it in the physical bodies also.
Mhm.
This image of the skinny hips, like these empower legs of a man. Men
Mm.
that are very big up here, but there's like, it's almost like physically also skinny legs, because
Mhm.
there's so much fear. And I get it. I have received. I was sharing the other day. I have, because I work mostly with women. I say I market mostly for women. I also work with men. So I often have women coming to me with the story of rape, right? Oh my God, I
Mm.
was abused. And then we deconstruct. And this is really hard for me to speak, because there is abuse. There is a lot of abuse, and that needs to stop. But there is also a lot of victimization, a
Mm.
lot of lack of sovereignty, a lot
Mhm.
of abandoning ourselves. And
Mm.
then when you construct the situation, it's not a rape, my love. It was
Mm.
not a rape. It was a moment where you didn't know your yes and you didn't know your no, because you didn't know your dark. And you
Mm.
outsource that to the men.
Mm.
And
Mm.
that the men's responsibility is to penetrate, and the woman's
Mm.
responsibility is to allow and receive, or to not.
Mhm.
But when we give our responsibility to you guys, then is when we get messy, because you were designed to penetrate.
Mm. Mhm. Mhm. Mm.
And so
And
we want you to penetrate, but we want you to know exactly when, and it just gets so.
thank you for sharing that. And yeah, I'd love to, hear from you. Like, were there some moments in your own journey of that kind of dance of awareness around rape, abuse, that you've kind of moved through, that have helped you become more aware of not only how to show up with more clear boundaries and communication and, and partnership and lovemaking, but also being able to, you could say, like, heal and clear past traumas, if there have been, or anything else like that. Like, that to me is where this gets interesting, because I feel like a lot of times what I witness, people who have gone through strong traumas around sexuality, there often is that kind of victimization and the holding on to. I remember years ago when I was working for a self-development publishing company, and there was a woman I was speaking to who had been raped many, many times. And in one of the healing sessions, it was like, well, what was more painful, the one night of the rape, or the last 25 years when you've been running that story in your mind over and over again? And it was, such a shift. And yet there's still a society that said, nope, that's wrong, and you need to suffer for the rest of your life through that. So where for you was some of the shifts around this? Because this is really where I feel like the rubber meets the road, and you can change from the victimization into empowerment, which is what I've witnessed inside of you as a being. And yeah, if there's anything you'd like to share on that.
Yeah, totally. And I will bring it back one more time to leadership and impact. This is the reason why it's really hard for women sometimes to bring themselves into the world,
Mm.
and and actually claim their worth and charge their prices and build their businesses, because 1 every 3 women has been raped. Me too, at
Mm.
15.
Mhm.
That was the way I lost my virginity, if you will, unconsensually. And if we don't decode the gene of victimhood within us, we will continuously recreate it in our lives
Mm.
across the board. I'm studying right now epigenetics, and I came up to a study that blew my mind. Somebody working with overweight, that every time a woman comes to lose weight, he asked her how big you were when you were raped. And he found constant cases of women who were in a healthy weight up until the day they were abused.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's so important for us to really come back to that moment and work with it. So I'll talk about my own experience. So it's more relatable. I was 15. I was really innocent, 15 of the 15-year-old girls when I was 15 are not the 15-year-old girls of today. I was really not aware of what was going to happen when this older boy took me into an abandoned church. And I didn't even get it until like there was a mattress in the floor. And I honestly, still till today, thought we were going to lay down and watch the stars because the church didn't have a roof. And by the time I realized what was happening and panic kicked in my body, he was already undressing me.
Mm-hmm.
And something happened in that experience is I felt the physical pain when I was penetrated without consent. And then something kicked in my being, like a beast, that panther would just walk up inside of me. And I fought. I fought really hard. And I eventually was able to bend my leg and push the guy enough to run away, half dressed. And so something in my cognitive 15-year-old cognitive mind understood I have been violated. I've been raped. I cried a lot. I had to deal on my own with the blood and the situation. And I didn't have a mature adult to go to. I never told my parents until I was in my late 20s. So I had all of that experience, traumatizing experience, but I also understood I was strong enough to run away. Because I was lucky enough to be strong enough. That doesn't happen to all women. Some women don't get off and they are brutally abused, and it's much more difficult. So 10 years later, as I was studying somatic therapy, this came up. This came up in my body, and I had professional help to work with reprogramming the part of me that was scared of men, that had denied myself of pleasure and safety, and that was still coming up every time I was having interaction with men, because it will all be fine until I wanted to fully let go, and then panic will kick in. Because if the panther goes fully away, then I could again be abused, and then just I will have panic attacks and I will have panic response. And that is where this sentence you said of like what was worse, that one night when I was 15, which was painful and traumatic and horrible, or the decade after of not being able to go all in with any lover because I would freak out, And so for me, the work goes through deprogramming the victim, deprogramming that I am a survival of rape. I did have an experience. I am not a victim. And really at a somatic level, not just at a cognitive level, by going into the body and reprogramming that into the body. And that, in my case, I did it through sexual healing. I was very, very blessed to basically only have tantric lovers in my life, and men that I could explain this to, and that we could work with this, like through lovemaking, getting to that place and reprogramming the body, re-regulating the nervous system as the nervous system gets dysregulated in the situation.
I mean, and when we first met and came into each other's lives, I remember some of these interactions with you, and there was it was actually a time in my life where I was really starting to understand the differentiations between kind of the personal and the professional, and recognizing, in our engagement as lovers, there was obviously a personal dynamic, but I started to really see and understand the potency and the power of very clear professional sexual healing in that sense, and that wasn't the context of our connection, but it really opened my eyes and allowed me to see through, some of our interactions and connection together, how powerful things can be with with sexuality when eros is there and there's clarity and consent and boundaries and communication. And it's something that I reference at times in my own kind of developmental stages of the work that I'm doing. And I just want to, for one, obviously share with you, sorry that happened for you when you're 15. And I can also recognize of course, the gift that it came through that, and the tremendous learning that our interactions together invited into my own life, and the depth of friendship and honoring I feel, with both of us. It feels like there was a core of healing that kind of moved through the connection that was present. So I appreciate you, and I also appreciate your capacity now in this moment to speak through it quite cognitively and clear, with a capacity to support and empower other women to do the same in their own life. So beautiful.
Thank you for acknowledging that, because Aaron, if one every 3 women in the Western world has been raped, the chances for a man to be with a woman that has been sexually abused are super, super high. Yeah. And yes, ideally, we will live in a world where professional sexual healing and integrity was available left and right. But the truth of the matter is very hard to find. Yeah. So I think in my experience, it is a collective responsibility to heal this wound. And every man who loves a woman, who wants to protect and take care of her woman, to learn what does it mean for the female body to have been abused, and how can you go there every night in the bedroom to help that healing happen? Mm-hmm. How can you, just by allowing the woman to go through her experience without having to change it, fix it, do anything about it, without making any of her experience mean anything about you, and just being able to be present and hold her and support her while she regulate her nervous system, because it's ultimately just a matter of our bodies remember an experience where we couldn't protect ourselves. So there is an alert that kicks and a nervous system that regulate this regulation that kicks in. I still experience this sometimes. It still comes up for me after so much healing, where if a man, and because it's rare to find men with really, really powerful dark masculine, right? And I want it, I call it in. And so sometimes when it fully comes, it's like, oh, and I need to pause. I need to breathe, and it can be so beautiful and so powerful and so intimate and so special. Like, it just, again, I have rewritten the narrative. For me, it's not like, oh my God, there is a drama here. It's my, whoa, oh my God, there is power here. And for anybody who's like leaning at the edge of the seat right now and be like, oh my God, I don't fully know that I understand what this is, I will give you a hint for something that is in a completely different context, but it's really powerful, and is the 55th gene key. Just do your research what the gene keys are. I won't lose time on that right now. And find the 55th gene key. And if you can hear the 55th gene key, not the one in the book, but the transmission of Richard Rudd. The 55th gene key is the journey between victimization and freedom. It's the journey between victimization and freedom. For as long as your cognitive mind is stuck in victimization, your biological experience will be such. For as long as your cognitive mind is stuck in victimization, so for as long as you identify that, your biological, emotional, and subconscious are going to reflect that. The moment you shift that, the moment you do the journey into creation, into agency, into sovereignty, into choice, then you will have an experience of freedom. Not free of pain, because pain is going to keep happening. Abuse might keep happening, Sometimes I feel abused driving my bike in Canggu when men cut me off, shirt off, disrespecting all rules of civism, and it's like, whoa, that was a rape of my nervous system. But I know how to bring my nervous system back to regulation. I don't have to sit there on my bike as a victim, So the freedom that comes with that transition from victimization to agency, to mastery, and this happens across the board, in your relationships, in your business, in your service, in your relationship with your body, with aging, with all of it. And I will close with this one. If you look at the narratives that are being pushed by the power that is manipulating our society in all governments, in all fields of life, from politics to health to finances to education, is a narrative of victimization. Constantly, they will victimize you for your gender, for your color, for your race, for your payment, for all of it. Victim, 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 victim. We are in a wave of worshiping the victim inside of us. Why? Because it's the best way to keep us controlled. Because how are you going to rule a world of free people? Hard. But a world of victims, easy peasy lemon squeezy.
Yeah, so many good pieces there. Reminds me of just the drama triangle and shifting, from the victim into the creator, and really recognizing that we get to be the creator of our own lives. And the other thing you share that I want to highlight is the actualization, the reestablishing of a healthy nervous system that happens in beautiful conscious lovemaking. And it was just, as you were sharing, I was referencing and thinking, my beloved, sometimes when she's just crying, I can hold her there in that and know that there's nothing that needs to be changed or fixed, and there's nothing broken. It's just actually the nervous system's coming into sync together. And to me, this is really the highlighted piece around somatic therapy, around coming back into a rest and digest state, and clearing through those things that are keeping people as a victim. It's like these samskaras, these half spins of quantum of energy inside of our bodies that are unequilibrated, they're unprocessed, that are often continually attracting these situations in our lives because we actually haven't healed it at the source. And then in a society that so much holds victims on a pedestal of how can we help you because we've done something wrong, it's like those traumas at the core never actually get healed, and they just get circled around over and over again. So yeah, honoring the work you're doing, and the work that really so many of us are out there doing to support this deeper reestablishment of the nervous system, to know what it means to be in the naturalness of our body, to know what it means to be in the naturalness, to actually feel home and safe back in the body. And I feel like that's a common theme we've been speaking about today, and that's something that can't necessarily be understood in a book. It has to be felt through and moved through somatic experiences that let someone know that they are truly safe in the body. And that's that when I witness that in someone, whether it's a retreat or a group or a client, it's like my own nervous system is in such gratitude when someone can come back home into their body. It's a beautiful thing.
And it's the most magnetic thing, right now, this tiny part of my work is being pushed in the world through a company that purchased one of my courses to resell it, and they're doing a lot of ads, and the ads I'm not in full alignment with them. They're a little mainstream blah blah and talking about magnetism as getting the things you want. But I'm allowing it because at the core of the teaching of that course is the most simple truth: is you walk in a room with a regulated nervous system, you own the room. Again and again and again and again, I watch it happen. Now I'm going out covered. I don't know what happened in the last few months. I've always wear turbans and things because I like to protect my head. But lately, in the last month at least, since I came back from Egypt, I only go out covered. Like I've even been asked if I've become Muslim because my father is Muslim. So I'm not even in like the hype of my beauty and my, and I can see it, I can feel it, and I know it. People come to you to have conversations in a different way, because there is. I feel like it's a principle of like magnetism. Now using magnetism as a scientific word, right? It's like the energy that's moving through our system. It is in a closed circuit. It's like a dynamo, right? Because the nervous system is regulated. It's not like going out. It's just it's within itself. It's regulating within itself, and so that just generates light, like it's called dynamo, right? The coil of copper that then
circulates through the body.
Circulates the light and turns up the light bulb, right?
Mm-hmm.
The moment that you take that coil and break it and have a dysregulation, then it loses its power and it will no longer turn on the light bulb.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when I watch it in my trainings as well, like you said, everybody's nervous system relaxed and everybody leans in. Everybody feels attracted. Everybody, it's like the rest of the nervous systems go like, "Oh, me too. Give me a bit of that."
I'm ready.
Yeah, it is. And it's so horrendous how most of the people that we have in positions of power in governments, in TikToking, are so dysregulated. So dysregulated. It's yeah. Anyways.
Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate the friendship we have in this life. I appreciate the work you're doing to support, women especially and men also, and just the journey you've been on to move through the challenges, the difficulties, and still continue to face it, day in and day out, and to choose. What I'm hearing from you is to choose love and to choose a place of actively creating your own reality, which is a powerful skill in of itself. So from me to you, thank you for your work you do in the world. It's beautiful to see. And those of you who would like to find out more about, maybe programs you're running or ways that they can get involved with your work, where's the best way to send them?
Social media. Find me on Instagram. Find me on YouTube. Mostly I'm hanging out on Instagram. And I have coming up a low ticket membership, because after so many years of working and so many years of creating programs, I want to just expand the community and give access to, like, an easy access to women. And then from there you can start your journey to the higher programs and the retreats and things like that. But yeah, I started, well, are we 2025? Oh my God, yeah. I started 13 years ago. Somebody stop this time, please. I started 13 years ago. So if you type my name on Google, everything that comes up right now is me. If you write it properly, from websites to funnels to, there's a lot of work that I've put out there for humans too. And ultimately they can just write me an email, and I have an amazing team that helps me communicate with people. So
awesome.
13 years.
Thank you. I get it. I've been doing this since 2005, so long time.
Wow. I just think that back then, because you were mentioning our friendship and lovership when we met, like, I was in my 20s, Aaron, and I already had this clarity what I was here to do, and I was like somehow convincing people that I was ready to do it. I had clients when I was in my 20s that were in their 50s and that had amazing experiences till today. They write me emails about how it changed their lives. So I also have so much respect for us, those of us who have really chosen this from passion and from dharma, not from trends. That is a devotional path, and it takes a lot of doing your own work in order to actually be able to walk your talk and be of service. So much respect for us.
Yeah, I mean, I find at this point often the people coming into my inbox have gone through a number of different coaches and people, and they're like, okay, I'm actually ready for change now. I'm like, okay, well, I'm here. I'm happy to support you. So yeah, it takes a persistence and a consistency, I think, in this field more than anything. So, and I, if I look back to my 25-year-old self that was super excited and jubilant and alive, and just finished his master's degree and was so excited about all this work. I still am. It's just in a different form now, and that was what 18 years ago. So been at this a while, and honoring you for the same. So I love you, darling. Thank you for your work in the world. Thank you for your beautiful friendship, and look forward to the next time we see each other.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Absolutely. Thank you all for tuning in. This has been Love, Sex, and Leadership. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. And if you have any questions for either myself or Layla, feel free to reach out, and see you next time.